So stillness and peace, an important thing for all of us to be able to experience from moment to moment in our daily lives, but so is joy. So how about this? Have you seen this one? You can see it. Yes. I know, there's just, you can't get enough of that, right? We could just sit and watch that all day. Unfortunately, we do have to do other things, don't we, in our day. How about a knock-knock joke? Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Olive.
Olive.
Olive you. I do. I love you. A Catholic priest was working in an inner city, and he was walking down an alley one evening when a young man came down the alley behind him and poked him with a knife. Said, "Give me your money." The priest opened his jacket and reached into an inner pocket to remove his wallet, exposing his clerical collar. "Oh, I'm sorry, Father," said the young man. I didn't see your collar. I don't want your money." Still trembling from the scare, the priest removed some candy from his pocket and offered it to the young man. "Here," he said, "have a piece of candy." "Oh no, I can't do that," the young man replied. "I gave up sugar for Lent." This morning, we have a young lady who comes in and does some cleaning here in the morning before all you get here. She's just delightful and precious. And she has what I might call uncommon common sense. She tells stories about how she's, basically saving people's lives because she has really an extraordinary common sense about things. Uncommon common sense. And not everybody has that, right? You're gonna go into an alley and stick somebody up, but you're gonna follow not eating any sugar for Lent. Not good common sense. So I bring that up this morning because this Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, which begins the Lenten season. And we as Unity or New Thought, we aren't really aligned with traditional Christianity, although we consider Jesus our big brother, our way shower. We believe in actually living the same type of life that he lived. But what we try to do is there's good in everything. You can find good in the rituals and the practices of different religions. And so what we try to do is to use these practices in a way that is practical. It's practical spirituality. It makes sense to us. It is more of a metaphysical approach to these practices. And there's just two of them that are official. So at Christmas time, there's the Advent season that leads up to Christmas. And at Easter time, there's the Lenten season that leads up to Easter. But what we try to do is to see that as an opportunity to really begin to reflect and to focus down more intently on whatever it is that is the primary sort of teaching of that holiday. So for instance, for us, Christmas is all about becoming aware of that Christ light within our own divine potential. And then for Easter, it's about releasing what doesn't serve us and renewing a better way. So we are starting that process on Wednesday, and I just want to invite you. It's a 40-day period. It's actually a little longer than 40 days because they don't include the Sundays. But what a wonderful, whenever we see 40 days, there's significance there. There's a sense of completion. And so we invite you to take up a practice during these 40 days of releasing and renewing. Unity has a Lenten booklet. You can order this online, it's free. Release and Renew 2022, a spiritual practice for Lent. And the process says each day you release something for the next day to renew. All right, so another way of saying this is in Unity, we think of releasing something and then affirming something. So when we release, we create a void. We create open space there in consciousness. And what will happen if we don't fill it with what we want? It'll just be the old stuff coming back. So there's a conscious decision to release and then to affirm something new. And for those of you who are fairly new to Unity, this particular Unity, what we like to do on Easter Sunday is the white stone ceremony. So you'll be hearing more about that, but it's a beautiful sort of renewing process. So one year, Twitter employees sorted through more than 44,000 tweets that referenced the word Lent and the words giving up. They wanted to see what it was indeed that was the most popular thing that people were practicing giving up for Lent. And the top 4 were actually social media. So Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all of those. Alcohol was number 2. Chocolate. I know, it's like, what are you thinking? You're giving up all of them? No. You enjoy all of them. And then, strangely enough, number 4 was Lent itself. Oh, to heck with it, I'm just going to give up Lent. I'm trying to get Barry to give up control over the TV remote for Lent. I'm kidding. We don't do the giving. Okay, maybe not entirely kidding. I like to think of Lent as standing for let's eliminate negative thinking. And that's really what that process is all about, releasing what is it that you hold on to in your mind that doesn't bring you joy, doesn't bring you peace, doesn't center you in an awareness of your goodness. So this, again, is an opportunity because so quickly our minds can become cluttered with negativity, fear, doubt, anger. There's a lot going on always in our world. I can come here every Sunday morning and just say, oh my gosh, what is happening in the world is so disturbing. So So once again, we're inviting you to think about using this 40-day period as a sort of spring cleaning for your mind. Let's eliminate negative thinking. How many of you are familiar with James Redfield? Yeah, so he wrote the book, The Celestine Prophecy. That was a while ago. And I didn't remember that one of the things that he talked about in the Celestine Prophecy was something he called control dramas. Does that sound familiar to you? Control dramas. So one of the things that we have been sort of focused on this month, since it's the month of love, is what we're calling holy relationships. And when we talk about holy relationships, we're not talking about romantic relationships, although that's part of it. We are talking about the difference between simplified, oversimplified is just the difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship, or a relationship in which we relate to others on our spiritual level. I don't just see you as a man or a woman. I don't just see you as unity or not unity. I don't just see you as a white person or a black person or a Hispanic person. I don't just see you as an American or non-American. I don't even just see you as a being, a human being, but a light being beyond our humanity, beyond the beings that just inhabit this earth. I believe that there are beings on other planets. So it includes the multiverses. So let's talk about bringing our relationships, and what we've been saying over the last couple of weeks is relationships are more than just with another person, that they are with absolutely everything that you relate to. So your computer, and last week for Barry it was the car and the telephone, and all of that is included in how do we raise that level of relationship. So right now there's a conflict in another country. This is huge. I know that it must be weighing heavily on some hearts and minds this morning. And so that's really why I wanted to take a look at these control dramas. Any of you have drama in your life? Mike's like, and yet we don't like it, do we? And all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And we're wondering how the heck that got there, because I'm so spiritual, you know. How do I have drama in my life? I'm a spiritual person. So here is 4 personalities. And what's important as we look at these 4 personalities, or 4 sort of ways of being, I want to just clarify, actually. Let me be more specific. Rather than personalities, let me just say coping mechanisms. These are ways that we have developed over our lifetime in order to cope and in order to feel safe. And so whenever we talk about something like this, our tendency is to say, oh yeah, I know somebody just like that. And forget to, and Tom's point, and Barry's pointing back at you. So yes, we forget to be open our hearts and our minds. Let me think about in what way I might do one or more of these things. So the first one is the intimidator. Now, when we think about what's happening on our world stage right now, that we have we might say, one intimidator, but it's never just one, is it? No, it's a consciousness. Please, folks, it's not one person and it's not a group of people. It's a consciousness that is within us too. Until we are all centered in peace in our hearts, there will always be a reflection of war on the outer. Do you see? So we cannot blame this on one person or one country or one faction. We must look within and say, yes, there's still a war within me somewhere. So there's a war in some relationship that I have, and maybe it's the one with me. Maybe it's the one with my body, the one that I have with my body. I'm not happy with my body. Maybe it's the one I have with money. I'm not happy with my finances. All right, can you relate to any of these? So the intimidator ends up stealing energy from people. Now again, this is not a conscious thing necessarily. This is a coping mechanism. This comes out of fear. You know, we believe here in Unity that there are really only two feelings. There's either fear or love. And so everything is either an expression of love or a request for love. And an intimidator would never, ever allow him or herself to be vulnerable. So is there that part of you that can be dominating at times or with certain people that might be maybe not aggressive or maybe aggressive? In this circumstance, as we see the world stage, there is sadly that aggression. But let us begin here. Right? In what ways do I, and maybe I call it assertive, okay? But other people that experience it as aggressive. Other people feel intimidated. Other people feel inferior or feel fearful around that energy. Okay, so that's the intimidator. How about the interrogator? The person who's just, you say hi to them and they start asking you questions. And you're starting to, I get this a lot because I'm a very private person. And so when people start asking me questions, I just get uncomfortable. So because I feel like, yeah, my business is my business. And certainly you can say, how are you doing? And how are your parents? And that kind of stuff that feels safe for all of us. But when you start asking me questions about personal stuff, and nobody's doing that here, so don't worry about that. Don't think, oh gosh, I wonder if it's me. No, that's not what we're getting at here. But maybe you are, or someone you know, is someone who feels more comfortable when they're in the role of asking questions rather than just being present and sharing your own information. The interrogator. These sound really imposing, don't they? Intimidator and interrogator. How about this next one? Aloof. Now, if I was going to identify with any 4 of these, it would probably be aloof. That's what I would look like because I'm trying to be private. And I'm trying to, that's the way that I grew up learning to keep myself safe. Of course, there were bullies in my life. We've probably all had that experience. And not feeling safe, and so just wanting to turn away, that aloofness. And finally, the poor me. And know anybody who's, it's always, somebody has done something to them. It's always the victim, okay? That's another way to look at it, victimhood. And we all do actually each one of these at different times. And so it's just a matter of becoming more awake and aware of these as possibilities, as coping mechanisms, as ways to, that do not raise our relationships to holy relationships. So here's an example, a personal example of me dealing with an interrogator. I'm walking my dog, as I do just about every day. Most days I walk Sam, and we have 2 dogs, and of course they're both of ours, but we have that thing where Sam is the one who's always around me and Joey's always around Barry. So I'm walking Sam, and it's actually getting dark. And he has a poop, right? And I'm cleaning it up, and then I'm starting to walk away, and the neighbor just then turns in to their driveway. And the woman pops out of her car and she says, "Did your dog just poop in their yard?" And I did. I felt very intimidated by that. And yet I did the thing that we all responsible dog owners do. He had to go poop, and I picked it up and I carried it away. And so since she needed to know, because I didn't realize that she was the poop police, I showed her the poop. And then, I didn't open the bag, but I showed her the bag. And I walked away. So there was nothing else between us. But I'll tell you, that happened many years ago. And I still remember that, because sometimes I forget what is my business and what is somebody else's business. And it's not a nice place to feel that you have to be the poop police. Can you imagine feeling like that? That I have to watch out for my neighbor's yards too? We laugh and it is funny, but it's a kind of a sad place to have to feel that you are needing to control situations in life, because everything is out of control. We like to say that there's my business and there's yours business and then there's God's business. And so when you start asking yourself, poop in my neighbor's yard, whose business is it? It's my neighbor's business. It's your business. I'm trying to think of some examples. Your relationship with your husband or your wife, whose business is that? It's your business. Okay, but then when we, bless you, when we knock that up, when we're talking about holy relationships, and then we begin to see, it's all God's business. That there is nothing that I do that isn't an expression of God. And you say, no, 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 no. How in the world can what is happening at the world level be God in expression? And I'm not even going to say that it's God in expression. What I'm going to say is that there are levels of truth, that there are levels of experience, that we have our human experience. And that is all that we can understand for the most part during this lifetime. We can think about what makes sense to us on this human level. And then there is an understanding, a truth at the level of spirit that we will not know until we move on to the great beyond. That there is a bigger plan. Doesn't mean that we don't choose war, and this is what it's all about today, that we choose peace in our hearts, because that's where it begins and that's where it's going to come from, no matter who is doing it. And so what I want to ask of you this morning is to join me and Barry. We have been bringing those people that the whole world is projecting onto as intimidators right now, bringing them into our hearts and loving the heck out of them. That is our most powerful tool, to just love the heck out of everyone and everything. So when I get to talking and then I lose track of time and then I realize I've gone over, and then you guys have to stay late. Nobody likes to stay late. So I'm just going to just take a few minutes here to show you. This is also Black History Month, and we so honor people of color and want actually more people of color to be here on Sunday mornings. Wanted to share this with you, a word from the African tradition, sawubona. And here is the explanation of what this is here.
Sawubona is one of the primal words when people were still able to really see each other. In fact, the word says we see, so it's not a single eye person. That my eyes are connected to a dimension of reality we call ancestors. So my seeing includes my ancestors. My seeing also includes the divinities that are part of the celestial spheres of reality. So Sawubona says we see you. And the response is Yebo Sawubona, yes, we see you too. Because it's a dialogue. Seeing is a dialogue. It establishes you as a witness to some phenomenon that can also be a witness to your own presence. But when two human beings meet in this gesture of Sawubona, the acknowledgement is we see each other. That becomes an agreement, because we're obligated from that point to affirm the reality that seeing has empowered us to investigate our mutual potential for love. So it invites us to communicate. Why are we, if we're seeing each other, why are we here at the same time? What is this moment of time giving us to be able to do? So it's an invitation to participate in each other's life. Seeing Sawubona also obligates a person to give to each other what's needed for that moment of life to be enhanced. For me now, seeing represents the question, how can I be, or how do I have to be in order for you to be free? Because I think our present civilization has taken away freedoms from human beings, not because one culture oppressed another, but because we lost the the imagination of what sight meant, of what these inner capacities really mean. So for me, it's important to reestablish the question, how do I have to be as a human being for someone else to be free? You tell me, and I would explore that possibility. Because I think inwardly we all know what the prerequisites are for our own freedom. It's a type of consent. It's a type of agreement we need in order to exercise freedom. We can't do it out of self-interest. Freedom can't be pursued out of self-interest. Freedom must be a mutual gift from one human being to another, recognizing that if I limit one person's freedom, I limit my own. That we can't take away something from someone that is so mutually tied to the state of existence. Freedom is not from something or to achieve something. It's a freedom to be present with.
So there is an individual and a group of people on the world stage right now, and we need to say, we see you. We see you, and we love you. Not romantically, not this heartfelt, sloppy stuff. No, we're all connected. And you can't be you doing what you're doing without affecting me, and likewise. And so we are. Please join us in saying to those individuals and groups, we see you and we love you. We cannot afford to hate right now. We cannot afford to resist right now. We have to widen our circle of compassion and love. That's a high, high calling, but it's just a holy relationship after all. So I'm going to close. And in closing, I'm going to pull from the song One Love, which we're going to be hearing in just a few minutes, by Bob Marley. He says, there's one question I'd really like to ask. Is there a place for hopeless sinners who have hurt all mankind just to save their own beliefs? So let's answer that question together. And let us spend some time in meditation this morning. Let us move forward now with a period of meditation. This word, sin, as most of you know, was really just intended to mean missing the mark. How often do you miss the mark? And out of your own good intentions, we are all doing the best we can at our current level of consciousness. And where your consciousness is not my business. My business is my consciousness. And I'm going to turn everyone else's consciousness over to God. It's God's business. But I know the role that I can play, that's clear. All I need to do is love you. Oh, but how can I love you when you misbehave so egregiously? Because I know that you're intimidating or interrogating or victimization or aloofness is your call for love. And so all my response has to be simple but not necessarily easy, is love you. I see you, and I love you. No matter who you are or what you're doing. I see you as a child of God, and I come to know myself. So let us just take a moment in that space of total love. And so now, as we go forward into this day and into the rest of the week, we know that we have one job to do. No matter what we see or who we see, is to simply say, I see you, and I love you. And to keep that in our hearts. Keep peace and love in our hearts always. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And amen.